Forget singles, doubles and paradiddles, this secret rudiment took my fills from beginner all the way to pro. So in this video, I'll show you 3 songs by Dave Grohl, Travis Barker, and one criminally underrated rock drummer. I'll give you 7 ways to use this rudiment in any song you play. First up, the most popular version of this rudiment, featured in No One Knows by Queens of the Stone Age. When most people first hear this, they think they're hearing something known as a single stroke 4. And it does sound similar, but it's not quite right. There's one tiny difference that transforms it into something called a Härte, and it's all to do with the last 2 notes. So instead of the single stroke 4, we put a slightly wider gap there. So here's how you learn this. Start with 3 evenly spaced notes per pulse. But instead of right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, you're going to play right, right, left, right, right, left, right, right, left, right, right, left. Once those feel even, add an extra left hand between the first and second rights. Now you've got 4 strokes with that slightly uneven gap. If that's feeling tricky, try alternating between the 2 versions, right, right, left, and then the Härte, right, left, right, left. Now the right, right, left is still within that Härte. We're just sneaking that left one in. So if I use 2 different sound sources, it'll sound like this. Let's put it into No One Knows. The chorus has 4 different fills going into a groove. But rather than learn all of them, we're just going to loop the Härte with the groove. 2 bars of Härtes, 2 bars of groove, 4 times through. And here it is a bit faster, moved around the kit. So the Härte at its core is a 3-note grouping, right, right, left, with an extra note slotted between the first 2. That 3-note grouping idea will become incredibly important later. No One Knows is a great entry point, especially if you slow it down first. If you want to learn drums without the boring exercises, the fun way, grab your free groove templates in the description below. You'll get 5 foundational grooves to use on your favourite songs, plus some tips on picking the right tracks. Now you've got the Härte in triplet form, but what happens when you want to use it in a straight song? It's built on 8th notes and 16th notes. That's where Travis Barker comes in. You see, most songs, they're not swung, they're straight. And the moment you try to drop this into a straight song, it's going to feel a little bit off. So how do you make it fit? In the song Reckless Abandon by Blink-182, Travis uses Härtes in 3 different ways, each one solving that problem a little bit differently. The first is the simplest. In the intro, he uses a single Härte just to set up a single stroke roll. Because the last 2 notes of the Härte are single strokes, you can just keep them going. So this one's super common across all of rock music. All we're going to do is start our Härte off and just continue with the single stroke. So rather than just 2 long notes at the end, we'll have more. The second is in the final chorus of the song, where he starts chaining Härtes together. Remember that important point I mentioned earlier? At its rhythmic core, the Härte is a grouping of 3 evenly spaced notes, right, right, left. So they don't fit cleanly into a song built on 8th and 16th notes because those subdivisions are built on 2s and 4s. To solve this, Travis adds a kick drum before each one to create a 4-note grouping. Once that's feeling solid, Travis actually adds a bit of flavour to this. First right hand lands on the rack tom, then the rest on the snare, before finishing out the fill around the kit. So that's the second usage. The third is going from the verses into the choruses. He puts another 3-note grouping before the Herta, which makes a 6-note grouping. Those extra 3 notes he's putting in are going to be a kick, snare and floor together, another kick. Added to our Herta, our 3-note grouping. And he's going to add that flavour from the last one as well. So we're going to get onto the rack tom for the first note. Do that twice for our 2 sets of 6, and then a 4 at the end for the fill. Next, we're going to look at one of the most criminally underrated drummers in rock music, pun intended. And this was going to take everything we've learned so far to a whole new level. This is Mike Cosgrove from Smooth Criminal by Alien Ant Farm. Up to now, your Hertas have mostly lived on one surface. We've moved a note onto the rack tom and we've added a kick, but Mike spreads it across the entire drum set. And to understand how he does that, you need to look at what happens when you let a Herta loop freely over the pulse. It doesn't quite line up with the pulse because it's a note short. This causes it to drift over the pulse line and therefore the bar line. It gives it this circular, never-ending feeling. This is the foundation of everything Mike does in this song. First use is in verse 2. He's looping Hertas over the pulse, but then in the middle, he slots in one extra note, turning that grouping of 3 into a grouping of 4. First one is a group of 3, then we got a group of 4, we got another 3, and then another 3. With an extra note, coming into the crash on the offbeat before the next bar. This drummer's awesome. So with the track, it sounds like this. The second use we're going to look at is in the last chorus. Now he takes that same looping Herta and spreads it across the kit. Kick and crashes replace the first right hand, and the rest of the Herta moves between the floor tom and the snare. So we got our Hertas, but this time our right hand is going to be replaced by a kick and a China cymbal if you've got it, but feel free to use a crash. Second 2 notes on the floor, last one on the snare. I've got 3 of those, then just a right, left, left. Before another China, extra snare, back into the crash cymbal. So with the track, it's going to sound like this. On to the third variation. For this one, he alternates between the Herta and a right, left, left as he moves around the toms. So you've got 2 3-note patterns trading off against each other. So you're going to have this, your Herta with a right, left, left. Same again down here. Right, left, left. And then finish on that offbeat. Once you start orchestrating Hertas across the kit, it barely sounds like the pattern we started with. but it's exactly the same idea, just set free across the drums. So now you've got 7 ways to use the Hurter in any song you play. But it's not the only rudiment that will transform your fills, and most drummers don't spend nearly enough time on the most important one of all. So click this next video for the only rudiment you need to create some insane fills of your own.